The trailer begins with silence. Absolute, suffocating silence. Then, emerging from the darkness like a ghost returning from the dead, we see him, Johnny Depp, his weathered face half hidden in shadow. Eyes that have seen too much, carrying the weight of 1,000 battles. For a man who once ruled Hollywood with the swagger of Captain Jack Sparrow, this moment feels like resurrection, because what you're about to witness isn't just a movie trailer. It's the return of one of cinema's most enigmatic souls. Collaborating with a master of fear itself, Ridley Scott. Picture this. It's been years since we've seen Johnny Depp in a role that truly mattered. Years since he commanded the screen with that magnetic presence that made him one of the most bankable stars on the planet. The legal battles, the tabloid headlines, the whispered conversations in Hollywood boardrooms, they all seemed to eclipse the artistry that made us fall in love with him in the first place. But sometimes, in the entertainment industry, redemption comes wearing the mask of terror. Ridley Scott, the visionary behind Alien, Blade Runner, and Gladiator, doesn't collaborate lightly. When he chooses an actor, it's like a chess master selecting the perfect piece for checkmate. Scott has spent decades crafting nightmares that feel impossibly real, creating worlds where survival is never guaranteed and heroes are born from the darkest moments of human experience. For him to reach out to Johnny Depp at this particular moment in both their careers, it speaks to something deeper than just casting decisions. The first images of the trailer hit like lightning in a storm. We see Depp transformed once again. But this isn't the whimsical transformation of Edward Scissorhands or the theatrical madness of the Mad Hatter. This is raw, stripped down, almost vulnerable. His character appears to be a man haunted not by supernatural forces, but by the very real demons that live in the spaces between what we know and what we fear to discover. Scott's camera doesn't just capture Depp, it seems to excavate him, digging beneath layers of public persona to find something authentically terrifying. The genius of this collaboration lies in its timing. Johnny Depp, at this stage of his life, understands darkness in ways that perhaps he never did during his earlier, more carefree Hollywood years. The man who once embodied rebellion and artistic freedom has walked through fire, personal, professional, and legal fires that would have consumed lesser spirits. When Ridley Scott looked at him for this role, he wasn't seeing the movie star. He was seeing a human being who had stared into the abyss and somehow found his way back. But let's talk about what we're actually seeing in this trailer. Every frame seems carefully orchestrated to tell us something significant. The setting appears to be contemporary, yet timeless classic Scott territory where the familiar becomes foreign, where suburban normalcy transforms into something sinister. Depp's character seems to be investigating something, perhaps uncovering a mystery that he desperately wishes he could leave buried. There's a moment in the trailer where his hands are shaking as he holds what appears to be a photograph. And in that tremor, we see not just the character's fear, but something that feels remarkably personal. Ridley Scott has always been fascinated by characters who are forced to confront truths they're not prepared to handle. Think about Ripley in Alien, facing a creature that defies all understanding of life and death. Consider Deckard in Blade Runner, questioning the very nature of his own humanity. Now imagine Johnny Depp's character carrying the weight of his own real-world struggles, being pushed into a narrative space where psychological horror mirrors the kind of internal battles that can't be won with sword fights or clever dialogue. The supporting cast, glimpsed briefly in the trailer, seems carefully chosen to amplify Depp's performance rather than overshadow it. This isn't an ensemble piece where he's competing for screen time. This feels like a deliberate spotlight, a chance for one of cinema's most compelling performers to remind us why we fell in love with his craft in the first place. The other actors appear to orbit around his character like planets around a sun, drawn to his gravitational pull while maintaining their own distinct energy. What makes this collaboration particularly fascinating is how it represents evolution for both artists. Scott, now in his 80s, continues to push boundaries, continues to explore the dark. There's a particular moment in the trailer where Depp's character is standing in what appears to be an empty house. And for just a second, we see his reflection in a mirror that seems slightly out of sync with his actual movements. It's subtle, blink and you'll miss it filmmaking, but it suggests the kind of psychological complexity that both Scott and Depp excel at exploring. This isn't going to be a simple horror film. It's going to be an examination of identity, reality, and the price we pay for the truths we discover about ourselves. The sound design, even in these brief trailer moments, demonstrates Scott's legendary attention to atmospheric detail. The silence feels heavy, pregnant with possibility and dread. When sounds do emerge, footsteps, creaking wood, distant voices, they feel both hyper-realistic and slightly wrong, as if they're coming from a world that's almost like ours, but fundamentally different. It's the kind of audio landscape that makes audiences lean forward in their seats, straining to catch nuances that might reveal crucial information. For Johnny Depp, this project represents more than just another film role. It's a statement about artistic resilience, about the possibility of transformation through creative collaboration. The man who spent years being defined by legal proceedings and tabloid speculation is now being seen through the lens of one of cinema's most respected directors. Scott doesn't work with actors he doesn't believe in. His filmography is a testament to his ability to recognize and nurture extraordinary performances. The genre choice feels particularly significant. Horror has always been a space where actors can explore aspects of human experience that more conventional films might shy away from. It's where performance can become almost shamanic, where the line between actor and character blurs in service of emotional truth. For Depp, who has always been drawn to characters existing on the margins of normalcy, horror provides the perfect canvas for a comeback that feels both inevitable and surprising. The trailer's final moments offer glimpses of what appears to be genuine terror, not the manufactured scares of typical horror films, but the kind of fear that comes from recognizing something true and awful about the human condition. Depp's face in these moments carries an expression that seems to encompass not just his character's fear, but perhaps something of his own journey through recent years. It's method acting taken to its logical conclusion, where life experience becomes inseparable from artistic expression. Ridley Scott's choice to work with Johnny Depp at this moment speaks to something profound about both men's understanding of storytelling. Great directors know that the most compelling performances often come from actors who have lived through experiences that inform their craft in ways that pure technique never could. Depp's recent years, challenging as they may have been, have given him access to emotional territories that might have remained unexplored in his earlier or protected Hollywood existence. The production design visible in the trailer showcases Scott's legendary attention to creating environments that feel simultaneously realistic and otherworldly. Every location seems carefully chosen to serve the psychological landscape of the story. Houses that should feel safe appear threatening. Streets that should feel familiar become maze-like and disorienting. It's world-building in service of character. Development, creating external environments that reflect internal states. What emerges from this brief trailer is the sense of a project that understands both its genre expectations and its potential to transcend them. This isn't horror for horror's sake. It's horror as a means of exploring deeper questions about identity, truth, and the cost of knowledge. Both Scott and Depp have built careers on their willingness to explore uncomfortable territories, and this collaboration feels like a natural evolution of that shared artistic courage. The timing of this trailer's release feels almost prophetic. At a moment when both Hollywood and audiences are hungry for authentic storytelling, for performances that feel genuine rather than manufactured. Here comes a collaboration between two artists who have never been afraid to take risks. Depp, emerging from his own personal wilderness, and Scott, continuing to push boundaries despite decades of success, represent a kind of artistic integrity that feels increasingly rare in contemporary cinema. As the trailer fades to black, we're left with more questions than answers, which is exactly what great horror should do. What has Depp's character discovered? How far will Scott push both his lead actor and his audience? What truths are waiting to be revealed in the shadows of this collaboration? These questions feel particularly loaded given the real-world context surrounding both artists, but they also speak to the universal human experience of confronting the unknown. The final image, Johnny Depp's eyes, reflecting something we can't quite see, carrying knowledge we're not sure we want to share, feels like a promise. A promise that this film will be more than entertainment, more than comeback, more than collaboration. It will be a testament to the transformative power of art, to the possibility that our darkest moments can become the raw material for our most meaningful creative expressions. This isn't just a movie trailer. It's a declaration that great artistry can emerge from the most challenging circumstances, that the partnership between a master director and a gifted actor can transcend personal history to create something genuinely powerful. As we wait for the full film, we're witnessing not just the return of Johnny Depp, but the continuation of Ridley Scott's legendary exploration of what it means to be human in a world that's far stranger and more dangerous than we dare to imagine. The horror, it seems, is just beginning. And for the first time in years, we can't wait to be scared.